Congratulations to you and DeepSee.ai for winning the Best Cutting Edge Solution Award. You have said that middle and back office operations are ripe for a control plane that would allow for greater orchestration of operations. Could you drill down on what you mean by the term control plane and how AI facilitates this?
So historically, middle and back office has really been comprised of two solutions. One is people. So you have a lot of people with monitors up doing a lot of finger tracing across different applications. The other is implementing point solution applications. And I think what the innovation in AI has allowed us to do is now sort of provide a zero, what I like to call 0 to 1 type of solution, where the entire process from start where you receive unstructured content to the end where you have to put refined breaks and settlements and what I call refined work into systems of record in a single orchestration plane. And that can cover multiple use cases. And the benefit of that now with AI is you can not only leverage what AI does best, which is understand content, reconcile across different formats, but also collect all of the what we call telemetry or traces so that you can kind of see trends and patterns and actually generate compound learning. I think those are the things that give orchestration an advantage over the way we've typically done those or solved for those problems.
What kind of AI would then uncover the trends that you're describing?
Yeah, so there's a couple different components in AI. So we all live in a world where large language models, whether it's frontier models or open source models, are doing a great job at understanding things that are sort of human readable. So think text, numbers, content, things that we read every day. There's also an element of AI that is able to make associations, recognize patterns, sort of do next best action predictions. And so when you combine those two elements of AI today, you really get a holistic picture of your operation. And what we like to provide is the platform, or what we call the control plane, along with various use cases that we call blueprints. They're really, whether it's a trade rec or a security settlement, or we have a number of them. But the idea is you can deploy those use cases in the same platform, generating the same understanding and actually creating or understanding or pinpointing associations between those activities so that if you're managing a desk, you can actually see trends, you can actually see common patterns that maybe your people do individually every day, but across time zones, across departments, you maybe haven't seen before.
Agentic AI has turned out to be a great fit for modernizing securities operations, particularly operations that were manual. Financial services firms are also beginning to see compelling return on investment, ROI, greater efficiencies, risk mitigation, better SLAs, and other benefits. In fact, you have noted that firms could experience a compound effect or an operational alpha. Could you talk more about what you mean by that term and how does it keep humans in the loop?
So one of the things that we think is really important, especially in middle and back office, is we've all used agents and we all see in the chat box, the agent may make mistakes, check your work. In operations, if you're 1% wrong, you're 100% wrong. And so what's really important is to always have a human in the loop sort of guardrail. We sort of instrument that in our solution by default. But more importantly, over time, you start collecting a lot of intelligence about what are the most common patterns for breaks and how do I go upstream to solve those breaks before they actually happen. So I can work with my counterparties in a more efficient and informed way versus just reacting. So we feel like the platform, or what we call the orchestration platform or the control plane, is really the first step to sort of organize all of that disparate, unstructured content. And then you start applying it to the most common, what I would call manual and mundane work, where you have people doing a lot of the sort of manual reconciliation or manual sort of typing in. And then over time, you get comfortable with the ability to sort of draw a line and say, okay, I want a straight through process or STP, certain things, because I've got a collection and an evidence record if I ever need to go back and audit for internal compliance or external reg. But over time, what happens is, for example, many of our clients use email, if you can believe it, for communications between their counterparties. And in those communications, you'll have, please credit the trade to these 10 account codes. You'll also have a great weekend. And everybody has to read that today. Well, what you want is agents to kind of sift through that noise, compress the noise into the signal. That's really all they have to focus on. Collect all the exhaust or the intelligence around that work, present that in terms of, just real-time analytics, but also trending, predictive capabilities, all the things that you want to see to sort of predict where can I apply more efficiency down the road. So if 90% of my inbound emails are open this new account, here are the details. Well, that's a prime use case to sort of then build another automation or another on top of our platform.
Over the years, DeepSea has been developing business relationships with major players in the securities industry, such as Broadridge, DTCC, and Beta NXT. Can you touch on what DeepSea has or will be doing with each provider and the kind of client projects that might be underway?
So we've had a long-standing relationship with Broadridge. We provide a nice sort of adjunct to their well-established platforms across the industry. They have well-known customers. They provide lots of critical services. One of the things that we help them extend is they have systems of record where you want the agent or you want an orchestration beyond just putting in data or reporting on data. So we support that effort, and we're very fortunate to be partnered with them, not only as I'll call them a channel partner, they're also an investor. They've been really, really productive in terms of helping us navigate the very complex capital markets environment. Our partnership with Beta is really important in the wealth management space. A problem that is, I think, evident in every wealth management firm is AUM churn. And they have a product called RetainX, which is around predicting client and advisor churn. Really valuable product for these firms to really understand sort of potential loss of AUM, both at the client and advisor level. So we're very fortunate to have that partnership. And then DTCC, obviously, one of the biggest clearing and settlement platforms in the world. We worked with them internally on their Global Service Bureau for standing settlement instructions. So we automated all of the inbound standing settlement instructions, which are very messy, very unstructured, automating and providing almost a 50% efficiency gain. And now we're going to extend that out to their clients.
How is the marriage of AI and securities operations changing the role of the knowledge worker in this industry?
I think, first of all, I think knowledge work historically has been terrible work. It's been 3 monitors on a desk, multiple applications open, a lot of what we call finger tracing across those monitors. It's not the highest, best use of, sort of human capital. What we really talk about is letting agents or machines do that work. And by the way, they do it 24/7. They never take vacation. They never get sick. And so really putting humans in the judgment, sort of pattern recognition role versus having to actually do that manual and mundane work. What we're going to see over the next few years is not so much this job apocalypse or, people going away. I think what you're going to see is people get more efficient and teams get more efficient. But the volumes and the work is not going down. With the advent of increasing volumes and regulatory mandates coming from the US and from places like EMEA, I think knowledge workers are now going to be in charge of machines or agents versus being the agent work themselves. And I think that's, exciting for those people. And I think, in our client space, I think folks are sort of, willing to adopt that and very excited about adopting that because they want to do that work versus, the manual work.
And if there's any problem with the machines, you have the humans there who have done it.
Yeah, exactly. They're the backstop. I think there'll be no circumstance in our lifetimes where you're going to have autonomous agents working in middle and back office because the stakes are high, right? It has to be a 0 or a 1. Now in the other areas like the front office where you're doing other work, you can be kind of wrong and it's okay. But in ops or operations, has to be right every time. And so that's why those people are going to be more critical than ever. And I think giving them the ability to kind of have a broader span of control is really what we're about.